Okay, we back in this motherfucker, bro, and we are going everywhere with this. This is still a part of the last episode. And if I get more comfortable, I'm just gonna start taking you like Sam Sulek in my car, bro, and just like driving around on the way as I go everywhere to do all these recordings. I'll take you guys with me. But all right, let's get to this. I wanted to include this in the last part, but I realized that it'd probably be a lot more effective. Well, my phone was dying, so that's just not to lie to you guys. But I knew it'd be more effective if I really showed you guys all of the scams or all of the ways that this system, this bastardized system of humanity and society, ends up using the best parts of your humanity, whether that is your hope, that is your faith, that's your belief in goodness and the benevolence of a system that you give your power to. They prey on that to get you to give their true power up, and then they exploit you. And then they make you feel bad for making poor decisions in relation to being in a just a horrible position to have to make any kind of life regarding decisions in. It's very disgusting, man. And trigger warning, I believe that there's different types of people who go through this experience, and there's many people who've gone through this experience, and it's been very unfortunate that they've had it invalidated. But when you give yourself in your authentic fullness to a genuine experience, and somebody preys on your ability to be comfortable as a means to exploit you for their own personal gain, that leaves a lifetime of trauma to be healed by the victim, when that could have just been one experience that will be forgotten about the next day by the person who enacted that kind of exploitation and decided to utilize abuse as a means to get something that they desired to appreciate, but they couldn't wait for. That leaves a lifetime of trauma. Now imagine that on a mass scale happening to everybody. Everywhere you turn, there's a booby trap. Every direction that you attempt to put yourself in, your energy and your attention towards, at some point is going to end up eating you alive. So we as a people, as a collective who have failed, who have been rejected, who haven't been accepted by our society, just as general human beings, need to come together in our failure and build something that we can actually learn from and receive some kind of conscious thought beyond the shame, beyond the fear, and actually bring energy to a place where we don't have to continue to fall for these traps as individuals, but we can protect each other as a collective. And in protecting each other from the traps as a collective, we can build something better, build a world of greater awareness, of greater insight, and of greater priority towards humanity. I don't want to be too much of your time. I know this video is probably already about an hour, maybe an hour, 15 minutes in. So let's just break down a couple of these methods that the system, the elites, the people want to use against us, individuals, broken apart in our trauma and just separated by like fighting each other, trying to fight our own demons, instead of just fighting our demons and building together as a people. Security. Boom. There is no such thing, man. Security, that's the first illusion, man. And in that sense, our fear of not being secure, not being able to take care of ourselves as human beings, we give a higher government that responsibility. We give them our power and our ability to make laws and decisions for ourselves to them, hoping that they don't only create laws that better human life, but they also follow the laws that they have helped enact and create. Our ruling class has gotten so powerful, they make laws to prevent regular people from accessing above a certain point and to protect them when they go too far into cloud nine and forget that they are not gods, they're human beings meant to be responsible for and facilitate human life on the ground floor. Security, illusion. We gave that up for government responsibility. Governments got too much power, they abused that power, and the people are too afraid to take back that power. But that comes with responsibility. And if the people could recognize that with great responsibility comes great power, just as much as with great power comes great responsibility, we'd be able to reverse engineer ourselves out of this system. But of course, that's going to take a lot of time. We've done a lot of work for the man that abuses us more so than we've done work to ever give ourselves a chance to separate from this abuse. Protection, illusion. In the next coming years, you're probably going to get to know, or hopefully you'll get more keen on the fact that we invest in a government to protect the elites from being overthrown by regular people. And then also to dominate other countries because we don't want anybody else to participate in the revolution that is inevitable, that has to happen in America to generate the right amount of energy to flow through here to actually get this country to what it always should have been. And this is a mecca of the world. In my eyes, America is probably one of the most beautiful, amazing, naturally set up countries on the planet, land masses on the planet. And because we haven't been able to take care of ourselves, we haven't even given ourselves the opportunity to take care of each other, we're never going to be able to see that. One day we will, though. I believe in it still, always will. But remember, if this military power doesn't have anybody to fight on the outside and everybody's really afraid of our military power, and our military power is not going above and beyond to find better ways to protect our people, only better ways to utilize weaponry against regular people, whose military is it at the end of the day? Forgive me though, your taxpayer dollars are going to it, but it's not protecting you. So who is it protecting? That's, I guess, a better question. Okay, love. I'm not saying love is an illusion. I'm not saying love is not real. I'm saying that we cannot prioritize romance and love in a system that doesn't even allow for the time and space for loving relationships and love to really flow through human beings at a natural pace, at the pace that love wants to flow. So as a means to force love in its complex energy, we have casual intimacy to give us a lot of love and in very short periods of time, but we forget that we're suspending our opportunity to be patient, to develop loving relationships. But capitalism makes us think that we don't have time to do that. So we'd rather take a bunch of these conditional experiences and line them all up together and say, well, this is my lifetime of conditional fun, instead of saying this is a life that I've built of love and it took so much out of me to make this happen. But because it took that much out of me, I was willing to give even more to make it happen and to make sure that it stayed the way that it was. We don't have that commitment. We don't have that genuine passion in this life anymore. It's because people they believe they have a lot more to lose than they really do. And if you're putting your whole heart and soul into something, you can never die. You can only learn. But people don't understand that. But as we break into more of this conscious community stuff, we're going to open up the floor for those conversations. Mind you, the other side of that, casual intimacy, is the marriage contracts that people do wait for. But just as bad as that is bastardizing love, it's trying to control the infinite energy of love. And you can't control love. You can't control something with a frequency and just a tempo so high and so infinite. You can only, boxing a goddamn that. Okay, you can't control something like love. You can only appreciate love for what it is because love only exists in its fullness in the present moment. It's the only time it can be utilized, the only time it can be truly appreciated. And when we don't have it, we can continue to look back at it. We can continue to hope for it, but we can't ever appreciate love any more than we can in the present moment. So we try to use contracts, marriage contracts, to bind us with that opportunity, to force love in certain areas so we can at least depend on it. But we shouldn't depend on love, because if we depended on love, then we wouldn't be fully taking responsibility for love. And love is something that's so potent, so powerful, it needs to have people submitting to its power at all times, willing to give parts of themselves, give the fullness of themselves to maintain its connection. Love is a lot more powerful than we allow itself to be, and that's conversations I'm definitely going to want to have more of on this page. But again, the future. Salvation. This is, I'm going to say just blatant, just straight up. You either believe you're a complete human being or you're a complete soul in a human body looking to develop that awareness of your soul, which you are already infinite, or you are incomplete and you're looking to be saved by somebody else because you have not given yourself the responsibility or the power to decide that you can save yourself. And in that process, you're going to learn lessons that you can share with others to help them get out of bad ruts in this life. And in that point, With that collaboration, we build the society that we're looking to exist in, rather than waiting for every single person to be saved by one person who will then somehow give us all the insight to create that world we desire to be in. When even if that one person did come down and save everybody, how would they know how to treat all of us if all of us haven't even been taking responsibility for our own lives and our own issues? It's not possible. You have to think after that event that so many Christians are dependent on. After that moment happens, what next? After this person comes out the sky and saves everybody, what next? None of us have been doing anything but waiting and making other people afraid of what would happen if they didn't wait with us. So we're fucked. And we're morally fucked if that moment doesn't even happen at all. Because then we've just left ourselves ass naked, waiting to be manipulated and exploited by the next powerful person who decided they're not going to follow that story because they're going to follow a story that actually impacts reality and takes advantage of the people who aren't willing to save themselves and take responsibility of their own power. It leaves us in too vulnerable of a position 99% of the time, and the 1% time that it may work, we still haven't taken responsibility to become anything worthy of contributing to a reality where somebody has saved us from our problems and now we can give them anything back. Because instead of building to be righteous people, we've just waited for them to fucking solve all of our problems. Problems we create, problems we are engaged in, problems we can study solutions about. But it's somebody else's problem, and that's why you're never going to have any fucking power, bro, because you keep on giving the responsibility to develop it and to nurture it to somebody who doesn't exist in reality. I'm trying to have that conversation like 1, 2, 3 times just so I don't have to have it 300 fucking times. Validation. This also comes with you feeling as if you are incomplete. Your desire to be received by society because you're afraid that who you are naturally isn't somebody that society or that the world is comfortable with. And maybe I'm just one of those people that doesn't really care because, like, I hate that subliminal social game that everyone's playing, how it's like, oh, you know, I'll tell you this, but I feel completely different. Like, no, tell me what's on your soul, bro. Wear your heart on your sleeve, bro. And let's just see if we're here for each other, bro, because this world is so fake and shisty and slimy anyway. But a lot more people, you guys are playing some game, bro. And that's why I realized you guys have like regular people have like a dating game too that you play instead of just like interacting with people, because you want to be in the perfect position to gain like some other kind of validation, more so than gaining like the true, like, how can I explain this? More so than just allowing people to validate you for somebody that you already know that you are. Walking into every situation 1 foot in, 1 foot in, 1 foot in, instead of just stepping in that bitch with 2 feet and saying, you know what, take me as I am, and if you don't like me, bro, I'll find people that do. But you guys are scared about that, bro. A lot of us are scared to do that, bro. And I hope on this page, bro, we can unlearn the fuck out of that real quick, bro. Okay, community. In a country that needs to feed off of unconscious souls, needs to feed off of individuals, I promise to you, community doesn't exist. This country, it works too much on preying on the unconscious, the vulnerable, the sick, the traumatized, the unkept, the desperate, and all of those are responses to individualism and to not being cared for properly by a community. So if I can just eliminate community or make you think that you have a community, but you're still in an echo chamber or just still isolated in your own heart and soul, yet you exist around other people, then I can continue to prey off every single one of you in groups. I can still prey on everybody, but you're all together, so you think you think that you're in a community, you think you're protected, you think you're worthy, but no, everybody in your community is just as vulnerable as you. You're just bodies together. Because you don't know what it's like to truly be alone in your soul and be an individual and to be a part of something as a unique creature and a unique perspective to that. And how does that not tie into the validation and the salvation, bro? Like, there's so much codependency in just the regular, like, general populace Because so many of you are born just knowing or born socialized to believe you are not worthy just as you are. You need to do something to be worthy, and then you can feel okay. So most people are set up to be just completely ransacked by every direction they turn into because they are not complete. So they wouldn't even know the kind of things that society is forcing them to feed on, but they don't need, so they can just neglect. Victims, man. Victims. All of you. Your state of being, which also comes in with your validation. It has to do with how, we'll call this self-concept more than we're going to call this state of being. But your self-concept is directly going to affect your state of being, because how you view yourself, it's literally the lens that covers how you're receiving this reality and this experience. So if I can get you to believe that this is how you're supposed to feel, you're supposed to drink coffee every single morning, you're supposed to drink alcohol every night, you're supposed to go to the club every single weekend, you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to neglect this, you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to complain about this, you're supposed to show up here. If I can just tell you it's like social custom, or tell you it's normal, that this is how we are, this is how we behave, if I can manipulate you enough into believing this is normal, how we live, then why would you even question any of how we live in society if you are kind of making it work and the rest of society is doing it as well? And they're not complaining. They're not acting like they're burning in hell, dying, dancing on flames. So remember, only you can know your state of being and how to properly accommodate that, because the rest of the world can only see what exists outside the skin and what you're willing to express from beneath it. But only you have the awareness of every single thing that goes down beneath your skin. And that shit is usually so damn scary that people will neglect that and go for whatever society is validating them to be, rather than understanding that and then being able to acclimate that to a level to where they can share it with the rest of society. But we also don't have communities that help us get into a position to where we can accept ourselves even when it's hard to, or when it's scary to accept ourselves. So we have to do it alone. And more times when people try to do that shit alone, they end up going fucking insane, because the mind is a very, 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 not crazy, but an infinitely expansive place to be in. Infinitely expansive. The mind is its own universe. This reality we live in right now, is literally just like a page on a book in a library full of libraries, on top of like the greatest library of all time, in like the Akashic records. This reality is just one page of like a picture book in all of that, in the library of infinite knowledge and intelligence. Yet we give so much, give so much of like who we are to this, bro, and just in fear and codependency, just like waiting to be validated. But it's like who you believe you are is so much more beyond what this you're able to express and be aware of in this reality, that if you limit yourself to this, then you will be limited in all your imagination, your creativity, everything that you are will be limited to what you perceive yourself to be. So if you're going to just relax on what society is validating you to be, go ahead, but you are suspending so much life, and that's difficult. Okay, forgive me. I know I've been going on for about a minute, but I just want to make sure I'm checking that this thing is still recording. And if it's still recording, I'm going to keep finishing up. Okay, good. Okay, let's get into like the final parts, because I'm definitely going to get kicked out of here real soon. But necessities, and think about this. I was just explaining this for like too much time. In your state of being, if you don't have an awareness of your state of being, then you don't know how to accommodate yourself. And if you don't know how to properly accommodate yourself, then you won't know how to treat your state of being or heal your state of being properly. Because you're depending on your state of being, your self-concept, to come from your social validation in society. And because you're depending on the social validation, you have to be in society, out there in these communities. You have to allow these other people to tell you what you need, to tell you what to absorb, to tell you what you need to devour and alchemize in your life. Because you have no self-concept, so you depend on the whole external world to show you all of this stuff. And then you also utilize the ways that they say you're supposed to heal and they say you're supposed to grow, which may be completely in an inverse direction to the direction that you need or the things that you need to actually grow properly for yourself. But remember, you decided that you don't want to look within yourself for self-concept and for identity. You decided that you're going to let the world do it for you, and the world is going to neglect your soul because only you can be aware of that shit. And when it gets too difficult because the world doesn't know who you are and you refuse to know who you are, that's when we start doing the escapism shit because we're not healing. We're just going to go in a different direction and have this avoidant mindset, avoiding ourselves, running into the world to avoid ourselves. Are you seeing how everything is just playing? You cannot... When you think of Matrix, don't think of like a rat cage or anything. I need you to think of like a literal, like a fish tank on your head. And everywhere you turn, it's just a different level of that fish tank. But the fish tank is just covered with everything that they want you to see. And everything that you need to see exists outside of the fish tank. But they told you you cannot breathe if you take this fish tank off your head. You see how crazy that is? What they want you to know is in the fish tank, and they tell you you cannot breathe if you take the fish tank off. But if you take off the fish tank, everything that you need, because all the real mirrors exist in the outside world. And you can't see them if your mirrors on the fish tank are covered up. I pray. I'm praying that this makes sense, guys. I'm really praying this makes sense. Okay. Inclusion. I want to include this one with community. So I'm just going to include it with community. But truly, I just wanted to include this to say that this is how society preys on your fear of missing out. Because everybody needs to enjoy or endure solitude and silence and being with self and knowing self. But society has made it so socially acceptable to not be with yourself, to constantly be buying, constantly be participating, constantly be out and needing validation from the world. Feeling like if you stay inside for 2 weekends, for a month, for a couple of months, that everyone's going to leave you, everyone's going to grow without you, everyone's going to have this crazy, amazing life, and you're going to miss every single bit of it. So you don't develop this freaking self-concept. So you don't develop this self-concept, bro. They want you to be more, they want you to hold greater significance for the world outside of you than the world that you are abandoning on the inside. Because if you actually took time to care for the world that you needed on the inside, then you'd be able to align your inside with outer world experiences that actually complement you and your development on the inside and the outside. And life as a whole can get more intentional for you. Forgive me, I was going to go somewhere with that, and then it's just like, but life can get more intentional for you because you're actually choosing the decisions that you make, and you're actually choosing how you go about mastering this reality. Okay, we're about to get kicked out here soon, so 2 more. Nostalgia. I'm sorry, guys. Holidays are just days. The second, if you're a non-white individual, bro, I'm sorry, this isn't to be racist or anything, but if you're a non-white individual, if you're not in the socially acceptable class of expressed identities in this American culture, you have to realize that you celebrating these holidays, you're probably celebrating a day where certain people grab your people and put you like ornaments on trees. One of the holidays you celebrate, that's what these people were doing to you at some point. Guarantee it. Guarantee it, bro. Thanksgiving didn't happen. Jesus' birthday is in summer. There's a lot more stuff. And really, I'm not sure if I talked about it in that last video or not, but Americans, like, you don't have a culture. All of this is just holidays and annual celebrations meant to get the people away from, or thinking that like they can get rewarded for doing the amount of work they do without getting compensated properly for just doing that work, and then being able to celebrate what they choose to celebrate based on their customs, their religion, their systems. But no, we all celebrate together because we also all suffer together. And this is just a giant Disneyland of trauma bonding, codependence, and forcing them to give most of their internal value to an external society that does not reciprocate to them. Until real social change happens, until there's actually something to celebrate, we need to stop celebrating holidays, bro. False sense of validation, false sense of accomplishment. It's like giving like a young bull, like I gotta say like adult, 18, 19, 20-year-old. It's like he comes from nothing, has never gotten a girl in his life. Yet somehow, like, it's socially awkward, doesn't know how to do anything, doesn't have no money, doesn't have no emotion, doesn't have no friends, nothing. But somehow, just like everywhere I'm trying to make this make sense in my head as I'm like saying it to you guys. So forgive me for just like completely pausing so I can refine this story. Forgive me. No. There's a way better story I can use than that. There's a way better. Now I'm just going off. And the problem is I'm not even going to edit this. So you guys are going to have to watch me struggle. It's the people that go to the freaking club, bro, and they have no fucking money. That's what it is, bro. It's the people that go to the club and they have no money. You're celebrating for no reason. You're celebrating at the nighttime to keep up with appearances, but you're still struggling in your real life. What is there to celebrate? Like, I'm not telling you to not celebrate, but I'm telling you, wouldn't it make sense if you took a little bit of time off celebrating and then actually decided to do the nitty-gritty hard work that you were so afraid of, and then you succeeded in that nitty-gritty because you weren't focused on trying to escape from it, and then in accomplishing that nitty-gritty, you have so much more energy and focus to give to celebrating? Like, would that not make more sense? Would you appreciate the celebration more that you have to suspend it because you care so much about making your real life something you don't have to escape from? So you can give your full attention to the real world, and then also your full attention to celebrating all that you've done in the real world, and you don't have to try to balance, work hard, play hard, and try to navigate, oh, well, I'm going to spend this much at the club, spend this much on drinks, spend this much buying panties. Like, what if you could just live the life fully instead of needing to just properly, like, annually navigate these things? That's how I know, dude, that even like MLK Day, bro, like, I'm black as fuck, dog. MLK Day, we should not have an MLK Day until we actually start seeing real reform in relation to civil rights, bro, in this country. Because I'm telling you, all it is to make you feel like, hey, pat on the back, like, yeah, you got this stuff, man. Nothing happened, but, you know, you got it. This is the analogy I was trying to give you in the beginning. Basically like a young bull who ends up going to, like, I don't know, like he hangs out at an event with just like the most beautiful models in the world or whatnot. And they're all just throwing themselves at him. And it gets to a point where, yeah, it's exciting and he's appreciating it at first, but it's like after a period of time, he's not doing anything to gain this. He hasn't done anything in his life but just be like a pretty boy or something. So he starts to abuse what he once appreciated because he's so far removed from the responsibility it took to get to that experience. Like a Nepo baby, really. So he's sitting here acting a fool, bro, not being responsible, not being intentional, not caring, because it doesn't mean anything to him, because he doesn't even know how the fuck he got this, because he just had credibility, just had validation. And when you don't earn through responsibility and commitment, you start appreciation goes directly to abuse until abuse turns into exploit, or abuse and exploit really in the same cage. And then after that, you just straight up like drain until it's done. And then if you don't learn from that experience, you go on to just automatically abuse the next thing. That's the problem with holidays, bro. I love celebrating, but holidays aren't real if we don't even have a real communities. What are we celebrating, bro, if so many people are so afraid of the way that we live, but we use holidays to escape that rather than to celebrate actually doing real work in our life? Remember that. Okay, last point. We want people to think. Now, there's a lot of issues with just history and just... There's a fly right there. I'm sorry. So there's a lot of issues with just history and intelligence and intellect and whatnot, because we live in a society that said certain people were superior to other people. Certain people are superior to other people because they have a certain skin color, not because they actually have earned the right to be called superior. So that, we had to make up a whole bunch of laws to justify that. We had to make up a whole bunch of history to justify it. We had to make up a whole bunch of experience. We had to cut the legs off of whole entire communities to justify this. So we have a lot of work to do in the redefining intelligence, reconfiguring intellect and intellectual capacity in this life. But the most comfortable thing that people have are their echo chambers, which allow them to believe that they are whatever role they think they are, while at the same time allowing them to continue to entertain their own ignorance while thinking that developing that ignorance is being intellectual. But it's not. It's just colonizing or monopolizing a space, feeling good about being validated overly well in the space, and then never allowing yourself to transform, because transforming means you have to give up that validation for the hope that you're going to gain that in another sense or whatever other direction that you were desiring to go in. And then the awareness, dude. People are very limited in awareness because we just don't have time to really think and to develop ourselves in such a mind, body, soul, conscious sense. But, we limit social and financial mobility for just average people on purpose. So people have to be limited to wherever they're existing, whatever direct environment is influencing them. And more times than not, if they're just focused on being crushed by their direct environment, there's no way in fuck they want to think about the real world system that's destroying everybody. Because you're going from hopeless to suicidal at that point. But this is it, man. If I was a businessman working for the elites, I would sell all you regular people this shit, bro, and I'd make billions. And if you regular people don't want to nut up and get smart, bro, you're going to see me disappear from society, and I will be running these schemes on every single one of you. But if you do care enough about developing awareness, about growing, about building a conscious community, then I promise to sweet Jesus, if that's who you believe in, that we have to help each other, protect each other from these booby traps enough to be able to build a solid foundation and then grow from our inability to have our hearts and our hopes manipulated on, and then understand that these are what we have to protect. These are what we have to be willing to live and die for, so they don't get corrupted, so the people don't get corrupted as a consequence of that. All right. I just want to let you guys know, as usual, I'm very, very, very thankful, and I'm very appreciative that you guys stay here and you watch my videos. I know it's been, just a real extendo clip of an episode. Ridiculously extended episode. But this is what you guys come here for, bro. You want to hear the kid speak that stupid hot fire right to you, bro. And that's all I'm here to do. Hopefully we build this community into where it needs to go. And hopefully I don't be too broke enough to stop doing this for you guys. Because, even when I don't have money, even when I don't have opportunity, even when it feels like my whole life's crushing in on me, this gives me that last bit of life support to keep going. Knowing that you people care, knowing that you people are my people, and my people care about this place, they care about themselves, they care about this world. I couldn't be more thankful to have a community of people that I do, man. And always feel free to tap in with me, connect with me on my socials, find your best clip in this video, post that shit on the gram, tag me in it, tell your mama I'm still single, I will be for a while. Let's get to building this shit, man. I'm freaking excited, bro. My phone's damn near broken too, but hey, I just know what I came here to do is a lot more important than my situation, especially right now. So hopefully, this inspires y'all to at least contribute to the conversation and building what we're trying to build here. Give us a chance to do something right, bro, for our people, and in the small window that we have to be humans, bro. Just give each other a chance to be human. That's what's fucking most important to me. Peace.